So this is the final hammer, and I just finished watching Bojack season 6. And I'm gonna say now, spoiler warning, because there's probably gonna be spoilers. I will be discussing the main plot of season 6. Now, season 6, its release was a little weird. It started with a first part and then ended with a second part. I'm not sure why. I know that it took them longer to release season 6 than it did season 5. But I know that there was a pig reporter trying to throw Bojack under the bus, or at least figure out how Sarah Lynn died, because Sarah Lynn's mother was certain that there was something off about that, and that something didn't seem right. And if you've seen any of the Bojack seasons, or at least the part where Sarah Lynn dies, you know that he fabricated that part. He was with her when she overdosed, and he in fact gave her the heroin, but he lied about that and said that Sarah Lynn called him, and then he showed up. So the plot is this reporter is trying to find out how Sarah Lynn died and if it was Bojack's fault. And this is really interesting. I feel terrible watching it because I want to hate this reporter so much, because a lot of reporters will do that. They'll dig up stuff from the past just because. I mean, sometimes it's good. And in this case, even though Bojack is the main character, he does bad things. And you know he does bad things. Yet we love this character, so it's hard seeing him do these bad things and make these bad decisions and see him suffer for them, because you have to suffer for these consequences. So that's the essential plot of this. Bojack Horseman is now a professor at the exact same college that Hollyhock goes to. He teaches theater and drama, and he loves his students, but the first half of season 6, since I haven't even talked about that, I'm just talking about the second half of season 6. God, what was his name? Pete Repeat tells Hollyhock what happened and tells her that it was Bojack that did it. And Hollyhock's story comes to an interesting close in this, because we don't know what happens to Hollyhock. We don't know where she is, what she thinks, what she feels. She doesn't even tell Bojack that she knows. At least we don't think she tells him that she knows what he did, with I think it was Charlotte or Charlene or something like that. But so he's working at the college now. He's sober, almost a year. Things are going fantastic until the reporter starts to butt into everything. Diane is still living in Chicago with her boyfriend, and she even tries to take up writing. She's on antidepressants now and has put on a noticeable amount of weight. In the second episode, I believe it's episode 8, it goes through Diane trying to write things, and it's hard to watch. Honestly, this whole season is kind of hard to watch, because it's these characters that you love, but it's not happy, it's not good. And I mean, it's good, but it doesn't make you feel good, it makes you feel bad. It's showing Diane's mind in a nutshell on all the antidepressants, trying to focus, but it's just all these different things keep stopping her from focusing, whether it be her dad, Bojack, Todd's in it a lot. Bojack gets a call from the dear lady's fucking mom, or the dear lady, saying, if you need to stop these reporters. They are bothering my family, they're bothering my daughter. And he has a panic attack and passes out. So this is when they're brainstorming, trying to figure out what on earth the reporters are trying to find out. And then they get a call from the reporter, in which Bojack lies to her and says that he had nothing to do with Sarah's death, which of course he did. Everyone was a little disappointed that he lied, but him and Princess Carolyn are trying to find a way out of it. So they set up an interview where he comes clean about it, and it goes great. He was shocked that people weren't angry at him for lying about Sarah Lynn's death and all these other things. It was really nice to see, actually, because it almost looks as though, wow, Bojack is a misunderstood character. But of course, Bojack being Bojack, that's not good enough. Good enough is never good enough. So he receives an opportunity to go back on the show. Does he know the reporter talked to the person who interviewed him and told her a lot more information, and actually coaxed her into exposing him and discussing a lot of the fucked up things he's done, like contributing to Sarah Lynn's alcoholism at an early age. Even though that kind of wasn't his fault, it was his fault. So he starts letting his colors show in a way. And it's not just, he's just this sober guy trying to change his life. This is who he is. And in the interview, it even ends with him saying, "That is who I am." And that's rough to see. And Diane watches that and even feels bad. Everyone feels bad. So Bojack is hated. Everyone hates Bojack. Bojack's new AA agent is Vance Wagner, the very bad guy, which is odd because everyone thought that would probably be the worst thing ever. And I mean, he does still make bad decisions, but in the end, Vance Wagner really didn't have a whole lot to do with Bojack's downfall. He tried to help him. He got him an opportunity on a show called Horny Unicorn, and ironically enough, that ends up being successful. Well, I'm not going to get into that quite yet. But, it's just so odd how they work in all these characters at the end still, and it works. There's a scene where Bojack ends up getting sued for a lot of money. He had to pay $5 million to Sarah Lynn's parents, and then he got sued by some vitamin company that he referenced in his interview and painted them in a negative light, which was a $100 million lawsuit. So he was broke, so he lost his house, he lost essentially everything. And he's living with Mr. Peanut Butter now. And it's really fucking sad to see. Hollyhock leaves him a letter and stops answering his calls. And he's kind of just depressed about it. He's distraught about it. So Vance and him are at a college party where they tell Bojack he's welcome there, they don't hate him. So he's there, and he leaves, because Vance is going with a co-ed to a room. They're both drunk, and he doesn't want to be around it. And then he finally opens Hollyhock's letter. And it never tells us what it says. Her phone is off. It's disconnected. No longer works. So Hollyhock completely shut him out, or died, or something. It doesn't ever allude to that, which is a little bit of a bummer, but it's interesting also because there's more punishment to it now. It feels like there's more weight behind it. So Bojack goes back downstairs and he's alone. No one's there for him anymore. Everyone hates him. Todd told him to leave his house party, and he starts to drink. After almost being a year sober, he starts to drink again. But it's horsing around that he signs off his rights to for the money while he's drunk to the same lady who actually got him to throw Herb under the bus. Turns out she lied about that too. Actually did not need to throw him under the bus. They just were banking on him not supporting Herb. So realistically, if Bojack stuck with Herb might not have gotten fired. So Bojack goes on another bender. He steals the Blu-ray copies of Horsing Around the Complete Collection. And then he breaks into his old house where there's now a family living. He takes a bunch of prescription drugs, drinks a bunch, goes for a swim, calling Diane and telling her, "You need to come save me. If you don't, I'm going to go for a swim." She didn't pick up the phone, and it went to voicemail. So he went for a swim, and we're left with a very intriguing episode. It was, I thought Bojack was dead. I thought he was dead, and he had to accept that he was dead, but that isn't how things worked out. And, well, he lived. After, it's an emotional episode, and I'm not going to break it down too much because I can't do it justice. I just recommend you watch it. He wakes up in the final episode and goes to prison. He gets sued. He's not dead, despite what everybody thought, despite what I thought. And he's in prison now. Princess Carolyn is able to get him out of prison for a week for her wedding with Judah. That makes me so happy. And that's kind of a new beginning, almost. Bojack's been in prison for a while. Peanut Butter gets him out. He's only got a couple months left, but he catches up with everybody. And it's odd because instead of him pulling a Bojack and fucking everything up, He doesn't. Everything is nice. Everyone he talks to, things work out. He doesn't ruin it. There's no alcohol. It's the only time I think that he's ever done something that doesn't somehow blow up in his face and have a negative repercussion, which is interesting. And I liked that. The show ends after he's talking to Diane, and she makes it clear they're probably never going to speak again. But they sit there for a moment while music plays, and they just look at the stars. And that's the end. Now, I think that this is going to be a pretty big divide for a lot of people. Or maybe everyone's going to love it. I thought I liked it. I thought it was good. It sucks because there was a lot of things that got left unanswered that they probably could have answered easily. I mean, just Hollyhock, something could have been mentioned there instead of leaving that on a cliffhanger, because now everyone's going to be wondering about that for a long time until somebody says something, or maybe I even missed it. This is literally, I just finished the episode. There's no script. I'm just talking about it because I wanted to talk about it, because I like doing that. But at the end of the day, I think Bojack Horseman is a show that was more than just a cartoon about a talking horse who's alcoholic. It was beautifully crafted, and it paints a cartoon horse who talks, as the most human person on earth. He can't seem to do anything right, even when things should go right. He makes a mistake. He runs away from his problems until it's finally time to face them. And that's why I liked Season 6's ending, is because there is no more running away. He faces the consequences and starts anew. We don't get to see him start anew, but we know when he gets out, he might go back to normal. The horny unicorn it's successful per Princess Carolyn when they're at the wedding talking. So he has opportunities, but he's also considering just volunteering at the prison, doing theater, which is good for him, I think. It's a good ending. I like that. So no matter where it goes from here, because we'll never know where it goes from here, hopefully, unless they bring it back, and I don't really want that, because I think that this is a fitting end for a character who has been so tragic, and he finally has a chance. No more pulling a Bojack. He can be happy with who he is and the mistakes that he's made, and he can move from them and learn from them, which is exactly what he starts to do at the end of this season until things go awry. And then he pulls the Bojack one last time, and that is the last time. So, I mean, I guess as a review, I can honestly say that this is one of the best shows I've seen ever. I would put it right up there with Dexter, but it's hard to watch this show because everyone, even for me, it's relatable in a lot of ways, and that's rough, whether you know somebody who's going through an awful time. I mean, just the way he deals with his problems, it's so toxic and self-destructive, and it's just terrible to put yourself through because you love this character so much and you like watching this character grow, and he can't learn from his mistakes, and that is so hard to watch, like, over and over. I've watched the show twice now, but season 5 is really where I have just the hardest time getting through it. And I mean, season 6 was nice. It was nice. It was nice to watch. The beginning of it, not so much, but towards the tail end, it really fixed itself, and it's watchable. I mean, if you're alright with putting your heart through the biggest wound it can take, seeing a character you love just get hurt. And honestly, seeing the evolution of this show from season 1 all the way up to season 6, I mean, shit. I guarantee you, the first episode Sarah Lynn's in, you're thinking to yourself, God, I hope this bitch dies. I know I was. And then when she finally did, I was not ready for it. So, I guess that was kind of my review and discussion of Bojack. Like I said, there's not really anything else I can add here. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I loved it, as a matter of fact. I wish that there was more answers. And that's really my only complaint. This one was a lot easier for me to watch. It didn't break my heart, but it was sad to see, nonetheless. So yeah, that's it. See ya.